You're ready to get some new gear, but you want to make sure it's the right gear for your senior portrait photography business. Now, what gear do you get? What do I recommend? After being in business for 10 plus years, 500 senior sessions later, well, I've got my opinions and I'm here to share them with you so that you don't get the wrong camera, the wrong lens, the wrong anything. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, well, keep on watching. Hey there, photography friends. Sean Brown here, and I'm so excited you're checking out this video all about what to get, what gear is best for senior portraits, and all of that good stuff. Well, if you're new to the channel, hello, welcome. I'm Sean Brown. I'm a high school senior photographer and educator, and I help photographers just like you not only pick out what gear to use for your senior portraits, but also help you grow your business, book more clients, make more money, and ultimately have a business that gives you the freedom and flexibility to do what you want. Now, in this video, we're breaking down all things gear. What's the best gear for senior portraits? What do I recommend? What do I personally use in my own senior portrait sessions? We're going to talk about all of that. But if you're looking at getting new gear, well, chances are you're hoping to take better photos. And that's exactly why in the video description down below, we've got a link to our 10 tips to taking better senior photos. It's my free gift to you just for being a part of this channel. And to do me a favor, if you grab that freebie, hit the like button, let us know in the comments, and hit the subscribe button as well. And that way you will always make sure that you get all of the latest videos that we put out, all things senior photography education, not just gear, but posing, editing, marketing, senior rep programs, pricing, and more. So the first thing to dive into is, what camera do you get for your senior portrait session? This is the big one. This is what you see all the photographers raving about. They got the latest and greatest and all the new cameras and everything like that. Now, because you can maybe tell, I'm a Canon shooter, so I'm going to make sure that with all things that we're talking about on this channel, I'm going to just talk about the Canon stuff. Now, you can find the Nikon equivalents pretty quickly. It's not that hard to do. You can just Google what's the same as the Canon version, and Google's going to pretty much take you right there. So I'm just going to give my opinions on the Canon side of things just because that's what I am familiar with. Now, for the cameras, Canon has come a long way from what they used to do. And one of the things that I would always say is that, well, Canon was always just amazing to start with, but they've come so far from their DSLR range that I no longer recommend going with a DSLR. Those are kind of like the dinosaurs, and you want like the latest and greatest Ferrari. You want to make sure that there's a camera that's got all the latest and greatest features, like mirrorless or autofocus tracking, all the best sensors. That's going to be in your mirrorless range. Now, whether you're just starting or you're a full-fledged professional already, and maybe you're just looking to upgrade your camera equipment, well, the first thing that I'm going to recommend is that you get a full frame sensor if you can. Now, on Canon's website, it makes it pretty simple and straightforward. All you got to do is go to their website, Canon USA, all that stuff, and you just go on their sidebar and you can actually search and filter by full frame cameras. Now, the three cameras we're going to break this into are like entry level. We'll call this like pretty much like full frame, like good full frame, and then like the really crazy full frame stuff. Now, I'm going to try not to get techie. I'm not a gear person. You're probably not a gear person, which is why you landed on this video. Well, the first thing that I'm going to say is for your entry level, you're typically going to get into their R series. Now, with this, if price is an issue, the first camera I'm going to recommend isn't a full frame, it's a crop sensor. So that means that the sensor's a little bit smaller. It means that well, there are just some advantages. It's not, or disadvantages. It's not going to work as well in low light. It's not going to necessarily have the same field of view as regular cameras on a full frame sensor, meaning that they're cropped, meaning that you get less of a view on the same lenses. Altogether, they're pretty good. In fact, I started my photography business with like not even that great of a crop sensor, was still able to take great images. That's because what matters more are your lenses, which we'll get to in just a minute. Now, the entry level, if you're looking to just kind of like the budget-friendly option, is going to be a crop sensor, and that's going to be the Canon R50. With the Canon R50, you're getting a really good camera. It's still going to do the job, still going to take portraits. It's really great if you're thinking about starting a photography business. You haven't fully gone into it yet. Maybe you're a hobbyist turned professional, and you're not really sure if this whole photography business thing is for you. That's going to be a great camera to use. Now, if you're ready and you're saying, Sean, I want the best that's going to work for me and my senior sessions for the next foreseeable future, well, that's actually going to be the camera that I've got right here. This is the Canon R6 Mark II. Now, in the Mark II, and we'll see if we can get that to focus, is the camera that I personally use on every single one of my senior sessions. Why? It's somewhat still affordable. We're kind of in the $1,500 to $2,000 territory of cameras. You still are going to have all the greatest autofocus features. It's mirrorless. It's full frame, meaning it's going to be better in low light. It's going to capture images with a little bit more rich detail because of that increased sensor size. And it's also going to work with a wider ranges of lenses. It's going to, well, not to say that the others don't, but it's going to be able to take full advantage of those full frame lenses, meaning you're getting the best out of your lenses and your glass that you're typically spending a decent chunk of change investing in. So the R6 Mark II, I absolutely love it. It doesn't come off of my camera. If you want to check out all of the images that I shoot with it, we'll link my client Instagram right here so you can check that out. And I highly, highly recommend that camera for many photographers if you're willing and able to step into that full frame territory and really want like the best of the best for what professionals do. Now, it's not the best of the best because there is the R5. Now, the R5 is really something that I don't recommend for a lot of photographers. It's kind of like, it has a lot of great features. It's got a bigger sensor. It's got like faster frame rates from what I remember and all that stuff. Again, I'm not versed on this, so double check all that. But with the R5, the biggest thing is that it's got a bigger sensor, more not a bigger sensor, but more megapixels. It's still a full frame sensor. Now, with the R5, I don't recommend this. Why? It's a lot of extra money for a lot of camera that you're not going to use. For us as senior portrait photographers, we're printing wall art, but we don't need a 45 megapixel camera to do that, right? The R6 does just fine. In fact, most of these prints that you see here were taken with what would be considered a dinosaur now, which is my old Canon 1DX. It literally is like a backup brick in my bag. I don't ever use it. So these images were all taken. This has only got 18 megapixels in it. So it's like a third of the size, quarter of the size of the new R5. I don't need all of those megapixels for printing. You don't either. It's a ploy to get, spend more money with the camera companies. So the R6 Mark II, great camera. This is the one that I recommend fully. Now let's get to lenses. So lenses are going to be a little bit of a tricky subject because guess what? It comes down to what are you looking for out of your senior portraits. Now, my personal favorite lens, and what I would recommend if you are pretty much a dedicated senior portrait photographer, if you're looking to get like those super bokeh-y blurred background images to really isolate your subject, let a lot of light in, and shoot in a similar style as myself, I recommend going with the Canon or Sigma 85. And we'll talk about that in just a second. The 85mm 1.4, Canon does a 1.2 version of it as well. And when I say the numbers after the lenses, what that is talking about is how wide the aperture can go. Basically, The lower the number, the more blur and the more light that it lets in. That's all you got to know. It's just how wide is that lens capable of opening up. The lower the number, the more blur, the more depth of field that you're going to introduce. Now, the 85 is great. I love my 85 because it is that true like portrait lens. It's very flattering. All of my seniors love it. And with the 85, you can let a lot of light in and get those blurred backgrounds that the seniors absolutely love. Like those golden hour lights with like the sun flare coming in. That's why I absolutely love this lens. Now, if you're just getting started and you want a little bit more of a all-around lens, the 50 millimeter is going to be your other option. So the 50 millimeter, you can see just like how much smaller it really is. With the 50 millimeter, this is going to be about the focal length that you see in your daily life. So when you look around the room, when you're watching this video, you're pretty much viewing the world in a 50 millimeter lens. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it's going to be a little bit wider. It's not a wide lens, but it's going to introduce a little bit more of the surrounding landscape in. So I love my 50 millimeter because especially when I'm doing destination photo shoots like at the coast or in the desert, I want to show the mountains in the background. I want to show the terrain. So if that's part of your shooting style, you don't need to blur the background as much. A 50 millimeter is going to be a great option for you. This is also more of like an editorial lens, meaning that a lot of the fashion photographers, if you're trying to go after that look, they usually use like a 35 or a 50 millimeter. Now, the 35, I'm not going to speak about because I don't personally own one. I have a 24-70, which is actually filming this video right now. That is kind of like, again, a more versatile lens. I think it's a trickier lens to use for a lot of photographers because one of the things is you have to know a lot more about lighting in order to fully kind of get its capabilities, in my opinion. It's going to not open up as wide. You have to know the style that you're going for in order to really use those lenses really, really well. Now, with the new Canon versions, the f2 on the mirrorless mount, the 28-70 f2, that's a great lens as well. It opens up a little bit wider, more similar to what you will get out of a 50 millimeter prime or a 35 millimeter prime if you're kind of in that territory. Now that is a big lens. It comes with a chunk of change. Totally worth it if you can get the f2 version because it is a little bit more forgiving for portraits because you have a little bit more of that bokeh-y feel that our clients really love. Now, the last lens in this series that we're going to cover is this behemoth. This guy, and we'll get this to focus, is the 70-200 f2.8. Canon has redone this lens in a mirrorless mount, so it is a little bit different looking. Great lens. A couple things with it. It's heavy. So if you don't want to haul a bunch of gear around, probably not the lens it's going to work for you. 85, still a big lens, but much more manageable. I used to love this lens. It's almost all that I took off. Images at 200 millimeters, absolutely gorgeous. Like you just blow out the backgrounds. They're super pretty. It is a lot of lens, and I wouldn't recommend it for the starting portrait photographer just because I think you can get better bang for your buck on the prime lenses, which brings us to, should you buy Canon or should you potentially go third party? Well, if you're a gear person, you know my answer, and both of the lenses that I use the most out of my entire senior portrait sessions are both Sigma lenses. They're not Canon. These are Sigmas. And the Sigma Art lens is a fantastic lens. The reason why I love it is that they run for a fraction of the price of the Canon. And the biggest reason that I actually go with Sigma over Canon is that these focus faster. So when I'm doing shots like my movement shots or incorporating any sort of action or basically needing to track my subject and make sure that it's in focus, the autofocus on these lenses is actually faster than their Canon counterparts. So if you want faster focusing and you want to save a buck, definitely recommend that. Now, if you're wondering about buying used gear or refurbished or anything like that, I highly recommend checking out my good friends at Roberts Camera. Now, Roberts Camera is a family-owned camera company. They're based in Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't live there, but they ship nationwide. So I'm going to include the link to Roberts Camera down below. Their staff and team is absolutely amazing. Tell them that Sean sent you, and they might just throw in like a free little like lens wipe or something like that. Now, if my buddy John is watching this video, I didn't say that to you guys, but they might. And they might. Ask nicely, and John might help you out. All right, that brings us to the last point, which is, what other gear do you need? I'm going to say, if you are just starting out, get a reflector. This is all you need. Not like a flash reflector, but like a big foldable reflector. I'm going to include in a link in the description my favorite one that I use. It's a 5-in-1. I just get it off like Amazon or B&H or something like that. Maybe Robert's going to hook you up as well. And what I love about this one that I'm going to link in the description is it has a white side and a silver side that you don't have to unzip and tinker with. It just has those. You literally just turn it over and it's white and silver. This is great because that's all I use during my senior sessions. White reflector and silver. White reflector for bright light, silver reflector if I'm in a little bit more of a shaded environment and need a little bit more light in my subject. That's all you need. Pop that under your subject. It lights up their eyes, helps bring just a little bit more of a defined look to your images. I don't play around with flash. I don't play around with strobes. I sometimes do on location. Now, what you see behind me, these are the big boys. This is the Pro Photo. I wouldn't go with that. Godox has a great series of flash and lighting. I don't use them, but I'm going to give a shout out to over at MoLight. MoLight is great. I know a lot of my friends use them. They're great with Godox, authorized distributor of them. They're fantastic. Michael, who runs it, super, super knowledgeable. Met him a couple times. Great guy over there. So if you're looking and starting to get into all your lighting stuff, he will help you with putting together the perfect kit. And it's much more affordable than my Pro Photos over here. You're going to save like a fraction of the change. You can literally buy one of these lights for like 4 of those. So you do the math on that. That's all I got for you guys today. Leave a comment down below if this was helpful to you. What camera are you thinking about getting? I would love to see it. And if you're thinking about getting new lenses, also let me know. This is what I recommend. I literally photograph 95% of my senior sessions with the 85. This is the Sigma Art. I photograph the rest of the 5% with this guy. And then this is pretty much just in my backup bag if I break a lens or something like that and don't want to have to reschedule a senior session. That's pretty much why I still carry this guy around. So if this was helpful, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We put out videos weekly on all things senior photography education, and also make sure to grab our freebie down below, the 10 tips to better senior portraits, so that you can start taking better photos today. That's all I got for you guys. YouTube is going to make sure that you check out the next video right here about what you need next for your senior photo business. So check it out right here. We'll see you guys next time.